Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Clayton, and in this video we are geeking out about Restart, a game about time traveling and changing the course events of your past, present, and future. I'll be giving you guys a preview about this game that's currently over on Kickstarter, giving you my thoughts and opinions about it. This is a medium weight Euro game, so let's get right into it. In Restart, players are playing as time travelers. They're trying to change the course of history to affect a better future. There is a pandemic that has ruined the world and players are trying to fix it. Players are going to be playing different cards, trying to complete different missions and objectives to score points, playing cards down on their mind board to build an engine, and trying to gather resources and plan them accordingly, because this is a tight resource management game. Because you are spending time to complete certain missions, and time is a valuable resource. And it has a campaign-esque element to it. Now, what do I mean by that? While this game does have a story that you're playing through, but there is no story that you are really following. The game will change based off the previously played game, and I'll get more on that in just a minute. There's different modules that come with this game, and it will change up the gameplay experience for each time you play this game. So you're not getting the same game over and over again. Now, I will say I've only played this game 3 times, and I'm always having a different experience every time I play this. With a new mechanic, a new rule, a new way that the cards come out, will change up the gameplay every single time you play this game. Now, with that being said, let me kind of just jump into how this game plays so you can kind of see the main mechanics of it before I dive into what else this game offers. So I have a 2-player setup, and every player will be choosing a time traveler with their very own unique ability. I have the X player, which has their very own unique ability listed there. I also have the Judge. Now, the game will be set up differently based on player count, but this is just a 2-player setup I have for you today, so let's get right into it. So, in the course of the game, there are 3 phases. So, out on the board right now, I have these row of cards. Each row of cards represents the past, the present, and the future. The game is going to be played over 3 rounds. And the first thing what players will do is determine who's first player. And I'm just going to say the Judge is the first player. And every character will control an adult time traveler and a past self, which is like their kid. Okay, so the first thing what happened at the beginning of the game is each player will place out their younger self at the bottom row representing the past. And now this will be used to help block other players from going to certain sections. Now, it's important to note when placing out your younger self that is probably a spot that you want to block where other people can't change that card. I'll get right into that right after this. So in this example, I'm just going to place my character. I'm going to place my character here. Okay, and then the X will go and they will place their character. I'm just going to be looking at these cards and I'll explain these in just a moment. They're going to go either here or here, and I'm thinking they're gonna go here. Now that that is done, it's important to know when you're gonna be placing out characters that they can go into any slot that's free, that's open, but you can never go back in time and land on the same spot as your younger self. That's a no-no. I could place this guy here, that's okay, but I can never be in the same spot as myself. So this is okay because there are 2 different people here, but this person I can't go because I can't see myself. It breaks the time paradox, if that makes sense. Okay, another rule is I can't have 2 kids in the same spot as well. That's why I had to place this one here at the beginning. And 2 adults can never be in the same spot as well, so this couldn't happen. Okay, now that you guys have a basic understanding on how to place out these characters, let's get into the gameplay element where you're trying to complete change of cards. Now, everyone will start with a random hand of cards, and they're trying to complete these different chain cards in order to score points. Alright, now that the children are out on the board, we'll move into the first phase for the first player, and that is going to be the study phase. The study phase means a player can start to build an engine, but they must place out a card on their mind board that matches one of these symbols. I'm just looking to see what is worth a lot of points that I might want to place out, or something that I might like to do. And I really like this card. So I'm going to place this card here, but it's going to cost me 3 time cards to place it in the study phase. So it's going to cost me 3 time tokens to place it on my mind board. So I'm going to discard 3 time tokens because that is the price of the card. And these are extra actions I can do once I start to build them up. And I have to place it in the slot that matches what's in the corner right here. So it has a gear icon, so it goes into here. I'll explain how that engine will start building. Okay, next we will go into the perception phase where I can now place out my person on the board, and I'm going to place, I'm going to place him here so I can change this card, and I can play a card for free from my hand. It doesn't cost me anything, and I can use the text of that card to use that ability. So this ability states I can gain a pill for each of my mind fields without a study. So I have 2 slots open, so that means I can gain 2 pills, which I have already gained them, so there are 2 pills right there. Now these pills are worth extra points at the end of the game, so it's important to keep these, but they can also help me build an engine if I really want to activate something per round. I'll show you how to do that in just one moment. I just want to go through each one of these phases. Now, that's all I can do. I can't move him. I only get 1 movement per round, or not per round, per phase. And I completed a chain. So I completed this chain because I have a yellow, blue, and purple card. So now I get to keep this card, and I got automatically 5 points at the end of the game. So I'm just going to set this off to the side, face down, and when I do that, I will gain a fragment, which is what this is. And this will go onto my board, building my chain. So I'll show you how this works now. So once I completed a chain, I get the reward, and I will place this down here, and this fits on my mind board like so. And now, as you can see, this lines up with this, and so this automatically will gain me 1 extra point at the end of the game. So that's important to know. If I have another one, it will start to build more things, like another action, which this one means place an event card from my hand underneath the corresponding slot, which would be here, which is automatically could get me more points as well. So it'd be good to build this up so I can have more actions to gain more points. Okay, now that the perception phase is done for me, I move into the intelligent phase, which means I can perform a plan A or a plan B action for free, or I may choose to bury an action if I can activate that action, which I can't. So I can't bury anything just yet, but I can perform plan A or plan B. So that has to do with this board here. This board features a plan A and a plan B. There is the virus and the vaccine. What that means is we're going to be rolling dice to see how far along we can move along this board to gain points the far along we go. Now, there's only so many symbols that we want. We have to choose before we roll. And I'm going to perform a plan. I should do this first. I'm going to do a plan A. Now, to determine how many dice I roll will determine how many fragments I have during this section. And I don't have enough to roll. So I only, or how many rerolls I get. So I have to roll all the dice, and I don't get any rerolls. So let's see. I said plan A, so I'm going for virus. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. This symbol means I could also have got more or lost more, but they count as 0 for me. So these are 0. If it was this symbol, I would have to -2 on my dice and only move up twice, if that makes sense, okay? So I have, because I said I was planning plan A, which is the virus, I'm researching the virus. I will then move up 4 spaces on the virus track, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. Okay? Now with that being said, let's move on to the next phase, which is going to be the memory phase, where I will gain 1 time token, and I would gain another one of these event cards, and this will determine how long the round is. Once I gain enough of these, the round will end. So I'm going to go with a simple one, and I also get a fragment with it. Anytime you complete one, you get a fragment with it. I just grab it when I complete it, if that makes sense. But other than that, now it is the end of my turn, and it'll be the next player's turn. And they will choose to go. Okay, now it is the X turn, so they're going to choose to see if they want to study something. I would like something that gets me extra movement, which is this card here. So I'm going to study, and this is going to cost me 1 time, because it costs that much time. And now this will grant me an extra movement once I put a fragment there. Okay, and then I'm looking at my chain cards, and I would like to complete something. There's only one that I can try to complete, and I'm going to do that one. So my character is going to go, let's see, I'm going to look at my other chain cards and see if what I change could possibly affect, help me out, yeah, it will. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to play a purple card. And again, it doesn't cost me anything to play a card, but I get to use its ability, which is if you have at least 1 studied event card in my mind board, I can gain 1 void token, which I'll show you what these void tokens do now. Every player always starts off with 1, but they kind of are like a wild and can change any color card. So I'm going to place this void token here and change that to a yellow. And if I use another void token, then I can change this one to be purple, so I can complete this chain of cards. So I have purple, purple, and yellow, and I will get 5 points again, so put that off the side. I get a fragment token, and then I can place that here, which will grant me an extra movement, so my character can move twice next time, and I can play more cards to try to complete more chains, or harder chains, that will require more colors to complete. So let's say the game has been going on, and each one of these chain cards are worth points at the end of the game. Some of them are worth more points depending on how hard they are to complete. For this example, if I complete this chain, I would gain 7 points, but because this one's like a 3-card chain, this one's only worth 5 points, right? And you do that by placing your character out on the board. Keep in mind the rules. I can only place them in spots they're allowed to go. So I can never place myself with myself, and I can never go where another time traveler is. Okay, but I can go with a time traveler's younger self. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys kind of get the gist of the main gameplay is by moving out your time travel on these boards to complete these different chain cards, which can be worth a lot of points, especially on these harder ones where you need certain ones to be in certain orders to complete. So that's why movement is so important. You're using your mind board to build up these different chains with these different fragment tokens. Now let's say you really want to do an extra action this turn, and if you have enough of these pills, instead of using these fragment tokens, you can use these pills, which are a one-time phase bonus to use all the extra actions. So I can place these in here instead, so I could try to get as many points as possible, or as many actions as possible for one round. Once I spend all these, they're gone though, so they're going to be gone at the end of my turn. And generally each round you only have about 4 to 5 turns, so you really want to be careful on how you are spending your actions and resources, because these resources are very hard to get, especially these time tokens. I will forget to mention, I don't know if I did this, but if you complete a chain card, it will tell you how many time tokens you have to spend to complete that. So with this one that I completed, it would cost me 2 time tokens. I gotta spend 2 time tokens. I don't know if I did that for this player. When they completed, they were also supposed to spend time tokens. There's a lot going on in this game. There's a lot to think about, because you're also trying to think what your player what other players are doing and what cards they need to be what colors in order to complete their chain cards. You never really know, so it's honestly kind of luck based if they are lucky enough to complete one. If you change a card that they wanted to change so they don't have to waste a resource to change it, then that's better for them. You're gonna only have certain engines that you can build and hopefully combo with. There's no way there's enough time in the game to have 3 cards researched on your board, studied, and have enough fragment tokens to fulfill all the way to the top of the card. That's just never going to happen. It's just too tight of a game, and you're mainly focusing on completing these different chain cards and trying to get the pattern that you need to get these points. Now, with that being said, they're also trying to focus on moving up on this board. There's different ways to dice manipulate these, so you're able to re-roll, lock them in certain spots, so you're able to move up around this board faster depending where you want to spend your research points. Do you want to research more of the virus? Do you want to research more of the vaccine? And hopefully get a better future, if possible. Again, the round will end based off how many of these chain cards get taken, and after 3 rounds the game will be over and whoever has the most points will win. Now that's the gist of this game. There's still a lot more to talk about because there is a destiny card, and if you want to complete the story of this game, it's going to take you, I think, 4 gameplays to see how your future will change. Every game will probably function the same way with these cards, but different things will get introduced based off how these cards end up at the end of the game. So if I read this core destiny card, you will see you will count the total number of study cost and the top event cards in the space-time grid, which is this, and that will dictate what module of the game you'll play next. So if I flip this over, if you have more green cards, you will go into the extinction board. If you have more purple cards, you're going to have the ocean realm. And if you have more yellow cards, then you're going to play a different game. Now each one of these will introduce a new board, a new mechanic. Like if I flip this board over, this is more of a board where you're trying to compete for more politics, who's going to be in power, trying to see what other players are going to do and gain points that way based off how they move on this board instead of working on studying the vaccine on this board. There's also these different cards that could get introduced during the extinction game where you are trying to get certain chromosomes to line up with one another and get points that way as well, which is really interesting way to play the game as well. There's also even a roll and write section of the game for all you roll and write fans if you want, where they introduce another map board where you're trying to score points this way as well. So this game will offer different ways to play every single time you play. There's going to be different engines you're going to build every single way. I guarantee you, you're not going to have the same engine every time you play this. The cards that you get are random at the beginning. The cards that come out are random. And so you really just want to focus what works best for you really at the beginning, what your chain cards are going to be, how can you manipulate the other players to do what you want them to do, and things like that. There's really a lot of things going on in this game. Each time travel in the game will also be different. Each one of them has their very own unique asymmetrical power that works for them and not someone else. And you want to focus on that too, because that can change up the gameplay and how you will score your points. The resource management in this game is super tight. You are spending these time tokens like they're candy. You really want to watch out where you spend these in order to gain points, because honestly in this game it's going to come down to the whoever has the most points by like 3, 4, 5 will usually win the game. I really enjoy how this game is a campaign-esque game. You're following this story, and based off how these event cards come out will dictate the next time you play this game if you want. You don't have to, but it gives it a story to play along with. You can just be like, oh, I like playing with this board instead of that board. I like playing with these cards instead of those cards. I like the roll and write. Then that's fine. You can play it like that as well. If you don't like dice rolling, then you don't have to play with dice rolling. You just play with a different module for the game. It's kind of custom that way. Pick and choose how you want to play. The cards are kind of the main thing to focus on in this game, and 2 chain cards to score points. But there's different ways that you can plug in and plug out different modules to fit your needs. Now, I will mention a few things that I dislike about the game is definitely all the iconography that you need to remember while playing in order to get an engine going. These symbols on the cards are super important in order to build a good engine and to get it going throughout the game. If you don't pay attention, then you could miss out on some sweet combos to get a really good turn. There's a lot of things to remember, and that is something you definitely don't want to forget. Also, when somebody does get the engine going, it's almost impossible to stop them. There's not really too much take that to the game. So you can't really block anybody fully from completing their chain cards or making an engine. Another thing I also really love about this game is definitely the mine boards. These things are super deluxe. They are super thick. You're able to put cards inside them and very easily. Another action I forgot to show you guys, which was the berry action. So if I had 2 fragments here, I could have the berry action, which allows me to take an event card from my hand and place it underneath my player board, and that could score me points at the end of the game. If this game sounds interesting to you, then definitely check it out over on Kickstarter. I'll have a link down below. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.